our first big face-off today. We got Godzilla Minus One taking on Hulk from the MCU. Okay, we're going to be starting with Godzilla first here. And Godzilla, we're going to start with a bang. His heat beam, it is considered by many, and I would have to agree, to be one of, if not the most powerful live-action Godzilla heat beam yet. I don't think it takes the top spot for me personally, but it is a devastating attack, and it's something that Hulk will want to avoid at all cost. He does not want to get hit by this beam. Point blank, it will destroy him along with whatever city they're fighting in. As we can see, Godzilla's beam begins to destabilize everything around it. This could be due to a number of factors. It could be heat related. It could be unleashing great force. Either way, even if Hulk is not hit directly by this beam, it could still blast him back, potentially hurt him for, well, permanently, to the point where he might revert back to Bruce Banner, which in turn makes him way more fragile. More on that in a moment. When Godzilla's beam does strike, I've seen calculations that place it around as low as maybe 20-30 kilotons, which is a little bit stronger than the bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima, or as high as 1 megaton. Me personally, I think it's somewhere in the half megaton for 500 kiloton range. Like I said, it's enough to definitely kill the Hulk, so Hulk wants to avoid that. It does come at a huge cost to Godzilla, however. You can see that he is terribly injured. His body just looks like he's suffered 2 second or third degree burns here, and of course his energy is tapped, so he's not going to be able to fire his primary weapon. So if he happened to miss the first time and Hulk is well out of reach, then it's going to be pretty hard for Godzilla to get another shot. But he's durable, he's tough enough to maybe have 1 or 2 more tries after this. Still, the injuries are pretty horrific. As we can see, Godzilla is usually always in serious pain. As I will discuss in just a second, his healing factor is pretty advanced, but it's not perfect. Let's discuss about that in a second. But I do want to point out that Godzilla here, he's not as super durable as his counterparts. For despite possessing arguably the most powerful heat beam out of all live-action Godzillas, he is definitely not the most durable. I mean, here, naval barrage is able to briefly stun him and take him down. He does recover within like several seconds from this, but I gotta say, even though there's no shame in like surviving a naval bombardment, but when it comes to kaiju, it's really not that impressive. I mean, Godzillasaurus, or at least the Heisei variant one, was able to stand up to a naval bombardment for quite a while. So I don't want to be that guy, but there's a big chance that Godzillasaurus and Godzilla Minus One they have comparable levels of durability. I mean, obviously Minus One, I think, didn't really suffer visible injuries here, so I think he's more durable, but that bears mentioning. Talk about a mouthful, right? Here's Godzilla with a mine inside. This mine is about to go off, and when it does, it literally takes out the left side of Godzilla's cheek. His jaws are blown open. He's lost his left eye. Some of his teeth have been destroyed. This actually took him out for about 30 to 45 seconds. And there's no shame in that, of course. No shame in having that. I mean, there's a chance a lot of Godzillas would definitely go down if they had a bomb go off inside their mouth. But this Godzilla is very unique. He was able to regenerate the damage within seconds. His teeth, his cheek, his eyes, everything. Although he still has this scar on his cheek and in other places, suggesting that perhaps his regeneration is not perfect. It's still pretty advanced, and it will become the strongest countermeasure against Hulk. Hulk smash, but he can't smash if what he's trying to smash keeps healing. Excuse me. So what we see here near the end of Godzilla Minus One, the humans, they release a rather clever plan where they try to drag Godzilla to the bottom of the ocean, where the water pressure will, in theory, crush him. But if it doesn't, then they will bring him rapidly up to the surface. It's called the bends, while exposing him to explosive decompression. And this is that combo on him, and it's really quite terrifying that Godzilla still managed to survive this, and it's very much likely, had he not been stopped by the protagonist of the story, he likely would have nuked everyone and then healed the damage, and his reign of terror would have continued. In terms of physical strength, since we don't see Godzilla go up against another kaiju, that, we're kind of left with just him, destroying, taking out buildings like they're nothing, which is still, when compared to, the Marvel characters, when compared to even Hulk, that's still more than enough. I'm not saying Godzilla in these shots is stronger than Hulk because he's able to tear apart entire city blocks within seconds. It's still something the Hulk should not underestimate. And here's another shot of Godzilla holding up trains. I mean, he's still just, he's got a massive size advantage and enough strength, I think, to, rival that of the Hulk's. I'll be talking about who I think is stronger in a moment, but it's clear that Godzilla Minus One is no slouch. Alright, well, it looks like Hulk is up and ready. He's winding up, so let's get into the strongest Avenger. I thought this was interesting. We all know about how in Avengers, arguably the most epic moment in the movie is when Hulk one punches a Leviathan Chitauri whale, and it's epic, it's incredible, and it leads up to the classic assemble moment. When asked about the weight of a Leviathan, the Avengers co-writer Zach Penn guessed that it weighed 3 million tons. I'm going to place the emphasis, let's do that. Emphasis placed on guessed, and it's mainly why I don't really take that at face value. I don't see that as an official stat. Not that Hulk really needs this in order to buffer up his strength feats. He's still formidable, as we will soon discover. But I do not take the 3 million ton comment at face value. I don't see it as an official confirmation. Regardless, it's still a very impressive strength feat. I mean, considering the fact that Hulk had to stop the Leviathan wasn't just, floating there. It was charging right at them. And Hulk managed to strike it with enough force that eventually he not only brought it to a crawl, but literally the poor thing's armor started busting open, cracking off, and he went down. And definitely a good way to start. It's a very impressive feat. And I feel like this in itself is more than enough proof that Hulk can definitely hurt Godzilla Minus One here. This was taken from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show. That's a vibranium wall that has Hulk's fist print in it. So Hulk managed to actually damage vibranium. Now, whether or not Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is considered canon or not, that's maybe left to another for another discussion. What matters here, though, is trying to first and foremost figure out how durable is vibranium. Well, it's so durable that when in Avengers Age of Ultron, Thor and Iron Man blew up Sokovia to prevent this. What happened was Ultron basically took the whole city for a ride, Sokovia, up into the sky, and his goal was to drop it on the Earth like a meteor, which should destroy the planet. But the Avengers stopped it. They managed to blow up the city. It had been evacuated, fortunately. And the reason why it was able to rise up in the first place is because Ultron used its the vibranium at its core as a means of, well, essentially defying gravity. But with the city blown up, the vibranium started falling. And what's interesting here is the vibranium was completely undamaged. The amount of power it would take to disintegrate, just vaporize an entire city, even Sokovia, I mean, I don't think it's as big as most cities, but it's still pretty big place, all things considered. The amount of firepower that would take is definitely, you're looking in the nuclear yield area, and even that wasn't enough to damage vibranium. So the fact that Hulk could hurt vibranium, damage it, is pretty impressive. I mean, you're looking at an immensely strong guy, but like I said, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. might not be canon, but we know who is. It's the purple Mad Titan himself, Thanos. And Thanos here is just extracting, pulling the Mind Stone out of Vision. The thing is, Vision is made out of vibranium, and, well, Thanos popped his head open like it was nothing, and just, I think, just, he did this casually, which is very impressive. If Thanos can casually break apart vibranium like it's cardboard or tissue paper, and that said tissue paper can, you know, withstand like our most powerful weapons, well, we're in for a world of hurt. Just ask Hulk here. Hulk was laid out, but even though you might be thinking, wait, aren't we supposed to be going over Hulk's impressive feats? Yes, we are, and I think it's super impressive that Hulk didn't die here. The fact that Hulk survived and healed tells me that, you know, I think he could definitely hold up against the likes of Godzilla Minus One, at least in the physical department, you know, and hand-to-hand combat for a while. Also, here's Hulk picking up a boulder and throwing it so fast into the sky, it looks like a meteor. Hulk not only staggered full power Surtur, he nearly jumped over him. According to the VFX artist, Surtur is roughly 800 meters tall in this shot. The Fire Giant's full height clocked in at around 4,000 meters near the end. The fact that Hulk nearly jumped over an 800 meter tall Surtur tells me Hulk can most certainly avoid the atomic beam, at least at first, and he can jump over Godzilla Minus One and likely land on top of his face and start smashing. And, well, you thought that mine that went off in Godzilla Minus One's mouth was a lot, or a mouthful. Well, the Hulk is definitely, let's just say Godzilla's gonna have to see a doctor after this. Finally, as far as durability goes, the fact that Hulk was able to snap and use all 6 Infinity Stones and survive is really crazy impressive. He did, of course, get his right arm horrendously burned, but the fact that he was able to do this and undo Thanos' snap from Infinity War, bringing back half of the universe, is extremely impressive. I mean, that's very good. Here's a question: would Godzilla's heat beam make Hulk stronger? Unlikely, since Godzilla's heat beam doesn't emit gamma radiation, which is the type of radiation Hulk absorbs, or at least the one in the MCU. This is the one that he seems to be more... it's the reason why he actually volunteered to, try and use the Infinity Stones, because they emitted gamma, which, Hulk is built literally to withstand. Alright, my verdict. It's surprisingly close. Hulk has a decent shot at winning multiple rounds if his banner side is in control, and he avoids Godzilla's heat beam. Godzilla wins instantly if his heat beam scores a direct hit, or if Hulk is caught within the near vicinity of its explosion. Being a byproduct of gamma radiation, there's a slim chance Hulk might absorb the radiation. As I just talked about, however, I don't think that would happen. With prep, Hulk would win due to his higher intelligence and access to cutting-edge tech complementing his superhuman abilities. Remember, currently Hulk now has both his vast superhuman strength and Banner's intellect. They're essentially the same person. Overall, Godzilla wins due to his regeneration, nullifying Hulk's attacks. Whatever damage Hulk inflicts, Godzilla is just going to heal anyway. And Godzilla, I think, scores a crippling hit. I think scoring a crippling hit is inevitable. I think his odds increase if Hulk turns into Banner as well. I think we could all agree Godzilla definitely wins in a fight against Bruce Banner. So, I think Godzilla Minus wins. Godzilla Minus One wins this first round, but it would be, of course,